Okay, so on page 5, I just want to go over two coding examples with you guys because every once in a while we'll do a little bit of coding so that we don't forget what's happening. Okay, so this one relates to what we did yesterday. So looking at this, so suppose there's 3 codes given, only 3 lines in this code. You said we're on page 5? Alright, so this code only has 3 lines. What are the names of the variables in this code? Okay, so instead of just x and y, what did they use here, Sam? Yep, and? Yep, that's it. Okay, so these two. So instead of just x and y, because we can type in the program, we can actually use words. Okay, so, and in a normal program, usually the first few lines are setting up your variables. So what is happening in each code? So this is to try to find the perimeter of a square. So in this square right here, what is the first line telling you? Yep. Yeah, so there's a set side length to 5 centimeters. Okay, and then what is the second line doing then? Jacob?
Saying that the perimeter is equal to the side length times 4.
Perfect. Right. So you're just doing the 4 times 5. And what would be my output then? Yep. 20. Yeah. So my output is just going to be 20. Now, what if I were to change my code to calculate the perimeter of an octagon? How would I change up my code? Sam? Oh, sorry.
Set side length 5 and then set perimeter 8 times side length.
Perfect. Yeah. Because a square has 4 sides, that's why my coding is 4 times the side length. If it's an octagon, which is 8 sides, then I would do 8 times side length. Good. All right, so that's just a quick little coding recap. What about this one right here? Consider the blocks of code below. So which ones are my variable here? What are my variables? Jacob?
And C.
And C, anything else? One more. One more variable here. Yep.
C underscore random.
Yeah, this is also the a variable because at the end, notice right here it says your outputting that, so that would have to be a variable. On EQAO, sometimes they bold it, sometimes they don't, so you need to be able to recognize. So what's happening here? You are giving n a value and then calculating it and then rounding it to 1 decimal place for the output. So if I were to do this in my calculator, so 17.5 square plus 5 times 17.5 minus 6. So if I do all that in my calculator, I get this answer. Okay, what would be displayed? Oh, wait. I think I did a 17.25 square plus 5 times 17.25 minus 6. Oh, yeah. Okay, what would my output be? Priyash, what would my output be?
3,717.
Alright, read carefully the coding. Round to what?
377.8.
Right, so to 1 decimal place. So your output in this case would be 377.8. Okay. Great. Okay, so there's 2 more for you guys to try later on. Okay. And then answers for the coding is on the back. Okay, so there's 2 coding questions for you guys to practice. Don't worry about number 5. If you want the challenge, you could try it. Okay? Otherwise, let's move on to solving equations. So solving. Okay, so page 8. Alright, this is one of the most important thing with algebra. So algebra, yesterday we know how to set it up, but the second step to it is solving for x, solving for m, solving for the number. Alright, so no point in setting it up if you don't need to solve anything. So this is the very important, how to solve. Solve by inverse operation. What's another word for inverse? A simpler word. Huh? A simpler word? Okay, even more simpler. What does inverse mean? Backwards, okay. Or any other words other than backwards? Starts with O. P. Opposite. Right, opposite. So what is opposite of plus? What is opposite of times? Yeah. All right. So these are opposite operation, and that's how we're gonna solve the problem. Okay. So yesterday we talked about how to translate an English sentence into an equation or expression. So 3 times the number is negative 3.6. Can you translate that to equation for me? 3 times a number is negative 3.6. Yep. Yeah, that's it. 3 times a number, so let's say n, equals negative 3.6. Okay, which part of the sentence tells you that it's an equal? Which word here suggests it's equal? Is, that's right. Okay, so the is means equal. So as we said, we want to solve for n. So that's what solve means. Solve means I want just what the variable. Solve means I want to find out what that variable equals. Okay. So if I want n by itself, that means I have to move away this 3. And how do we move it? We do the opposite operation. Okay, what do we say is the opposite of times? Yep, divide, right? So I'm gonna just divide it by 3 here. Right, negative 3.6 divided by 3, I get negative 1.2. Okay, don't forget the second part of the question. Verify your solution. How do we verify? If you did your homework yesterday, you'll know how to verify. Okay, how do I verify my answer, Nifia? Oh, sorry. Yeah, sure. I was looking at Ahira.
We verify our answer by replacing the variable with the answer that we got.
Right.
See if we still get the same number.
Right. Okay. So substituting it back into the original question. So here to do the check, I'm gonna do 3 times negative 1.2. What do you get? Negative 3.6. So I know that is right. The good thing with this chapter is you can check all your answers before you click submit. And yeah, so you'll know that you got perfect on the test before I even mark it. Alright, so better not have any silly mistakes because you can check all your answers. All you have to do is substitute it back into the original equation and see if you get the answer. Alright. B, a number divided by 4 is 1.5. Michelle?
10 divided by 4 equals 1.5.
Perfect. Alright. And remember, my goal is to solve for the variable. So what do I have to move away? I want just n by itself on one side. So what do I have to move away from the n? Yep. Move the 4. And how should I move it? Right, because opposite. So instead of dividing here, when I move it over to the other side, I'm going to times. So 1.5 times 4, I get 6. Okay, check my answer. 6 divided by 4 does give me 1.5, so I know it's correct. Okay, so that's why yesterday's homework, you did a lot of substitution questions. All right, you guys see how it's related? Okay, especially if part of the question does tell you to verify, then you have to show this part. All right. So this is a one-step equation. Okay, that's what we did to solve it in just one step. Now, example 2, two-step. Okay, so to solve this, if I were to read this out, this is 4.5 times d minus 3.2, and then it gives me negative 18.5. Okay, as we said, we're going to do the inverse. So inverse tells me to do, instead of minus 3.2, I'm going to do plus 3.2. And instead of timesing 4.5, I'm going to do divide 4.5. Okay, so therefore, d equal negative 18.5 plus 3.2 divided by 4.5. If you do that on your calculator, negative 18.5 plus 3.2 divided by 4.5. If I just use my calculator, what's wrong with what I just typed in? Yep.
The 3.2 will be divided by the 4.5.
Yeah. So bad math will tell you, your calculator will want to do bad math and it's gonna want to divide first. But based on right here, we know we want to add first before we divide. You can either add brackets or add first, press equal, and then divide by 4.5. So this is a common mistake that people do. Make sure you don't fall for this mistake on your calculator. So either add brackets or press equal and then divide. So then you'll get negative 3.4. Okay? Substitute it in. 4.5 times negative 3.4 minus 3.2. I do get negative 18.5. So I know my answer is correct. Okay? So same thing right here. R divided by 4 plus 3 equals 7.2. So if I do the inverse, Michelle, can you help me with this one? Yeah, minus 3. And then here? Perfect. Good. So what does R equal then? Okay, so on the calculator, I'm going to do 7.2 minus 3. Okay, what do I have to press next? Yep, in brackets. Yeah, put it in brackets or press equal sign. Okay, and then times 4. And I get 16.8. Okay, check your answer. 16.8 divided by 4 plus 3, I get 7.2. So I know my answer is correct. Okay, so that's what inverse operation means. Okay. So now let's try to model a word problem. A rectangle has a length of 3.7 centimeters, 3.7 centimeters, and a perimeter of 13.2. Okay, what do we not know in this rectangle? Yep.
The right side and the left.
Okay, what letter do we usually use for this? Width, right? In a rectangle, this is my width. So that's what your variable is. So a lot of time when people set this up, they know what it's talking about, but then they don't know what they're solving for. Put in a variable. Okay, so whatever you're solving for, that's your variable. Okay, so start off with the perimeter formula. P equals 2 length plus 2 width. Okay. Okay, somebody tell me how to substitute it in. Okay, Sam?
So we switch to W to the other side and we bring the P to this side. So we will do 3.7 centimeters times 2 and P divided by that times it.
Okay. This is the common mistake that people do. Notice you just substituted the 3.7 and then your next line there is a P and a W still. But we actually know one more. What else do we know? No, but P and W, do we not know one of them? Yeah. Yeah. You actually know what P is. A lot of times people see the equation P equal and then they only substitute on the right side and try to solve for P, but you actually know what P is. So whatever information you know, substitute it in. Okay. And sometimes people would also write this and then write P equal and then equal 13.2 and then all of a sudden you have two equal sign in the line. Okay, so now my equation becomes 13.2 equals 3.7 times 2, 7.4 plus 2w. Okay, who wants to solve this? This now is exactly like these questions that we did up here. So do inverse operation. Yep. Right. And then the 5 by 2. Okay. Always start with the always start with the side with the equal. So notice the difference between here and here is I have the equal number on the right, and then this time I have the number equal on the left. Okay, but start from here because this is 7.4 plus 7.4 plus 2 times w. So opposite of this would be minus 7.4, and then 2 times w, opposite is divide by 2. Okay, so when you do it on your calculator, 13.2 minus 7.4, you get 5.8, and then 5.8 divided by 2, I get 2.9. So w equals, I'll write it out, 13.2 minus 7.4 divided by 2. So I get 2.9. Okay, if I write this as my final answer, will I get full marks? What am I missing? What's my unit? Excellent. Okay, now will I get full marks? Nope. I didn't finish the question. What does part C tell me to do? Verify. That's right. I know sometimes verifying is annoying because it's like, I got the answer already. Like, can I move on? If it's part of the question, make sure you do the check because it's worth marks then. Okay. So 2 times 3.7 plus 2 times 2.9. What should be my answer? What should my answer be? 13.2. If it is, what does that mean? If it's not, right. And you should look at it again. Right? If it doesn't equal 13.2, you better check your math. Alright, that's why I say it's a good thing to always check, because then you can know you did it right before you click submit. Okay, last example, example 4, last one. 7% of a number is 56.7. Okay, somebody translate that. Nicklin, you've been quiet today. 7% of a number is 56.7. Oh, just set it up first. Can you just like word for word? 7% of a number means what? Good. I'll say n so that it's a little easier to see. Is good. All right. Daniel, 7%. What do I have to do with that 7%? Right. And what is that as a decimal? Good job. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like what I heard. I heard we did that question. Yeah, we did this in chapter 1. Okay. So now how do I solve for n? Charles?
6.7 over 0.07.
Right. Divide by 0.07. A lot of times people get confused. Should this go on the bottom or if that go on the bottom? Remember, you're trying to get n alone, n by itself. So you're moving this to the bottom. And when you do that, you get 810. Okay. Full marks? Sam? Check. Not you could. You need to. It's part of the question. So you have to check because it's worth marks. If it's part of the question, it means it's part of the marks. So 800 0.07 times 810, I should get 56.7. If I do, it's correct. If I don't, it's not correct. Okay. So that's it. Any question on solving equations? Make sure you do the practice because tomorrow we're gonna do harder and harder and harder ones. Okay, this is the basics of solving. So make sure you do the practice. It will get harder tomorrow. Okay, so page 9 and 10. Somewhere page 9 and 10. Okay, plenty of time right now to get started.